Hello. Yeah, so in this episode of our tutorials, we will be discussing something about PHP for beginners. And what we intend to do is, in our previous videos, we are taking time to, walk us through how to do, create applications, web applications using PHP. But what we realized was we were supposed to started from the basics, okay, from the basics, be it what is PHP, what are the variables, how to work with variables, how PHP works and other things before we that continue from where we ended. Okay, we're supposed to have started from that side. So I think the comments and other requests that have reached me in my inbox is that most of you are beginners and you want to know the basics of PHP programming. Okay, so it looks like what we've done so far is a bit higher than what the skill set that you have now in PHP. So in this episode of PHP for beginners, I will take my time and walk you through how to start working with PHP, all right, in that phases. So we will do an intro, work with some variables, test case sensitivity, white space, commenting, cookies, sessions, and so on and so forth. All right, so we'll be doing all those things. All right, so to wasting much of your time, I'll pause here and, as usual, go back to move to the practical room so that we start doing something. Okay, so welcome back to this episode of PHP tutorials. In this video, we are going to discuss the basic introduction of PHP. How to use PHP to do your projects and other things. In the earlier videos, we jumped the process. We started working with the MySQL and the HTMLs and other things using PHP. But some of your requests that has come to my end is that most of you also need the introduction to the PHP development itself. So I'll use as earlier on introduced. Subsequently, I'll take my time to walk you through how to really use the PHP to how to learn the PHP from scratch. Okay, then it will add up to what you've already studied or what you've already learned. So here, this tutorial will be based on the tutorialspoint.com. You get a PHP version of tutorialspoint.com. So this very site I've opened is the tutorialspoint.com/php/index.html. So in this page, on this page, we have PHP tutorial. So what I'll do is I'll scroll through it. When you have time, you can go through the link, the web link here. Then you also access it and read it yourself. So what I'll do, the practical aspect of the page of this very tutorial, I'll flip to my development interface, then continue from there. All right, so that you get to the practical understanding of what they mean over here. So that is how this presentation will go. Okay, I'll change between the screens. So PHP, as we can see over here, is an acronym. PHP is an acronym which stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. That is a PHP. And over here, it's saying it's a programming language that allows web developers to create dynamic content that interacts with databases. Okay, so for you to be able to develop a web application, you need a certain script which PHP forms part of it. Okay, so you can either use PHP or Python or any other for your web development, but in this context we are talking about PHP. So PHP helps you, it's a language, programming language that helps you to develop dynamic content that's interactive to database. So for example, with our Mobilize website that we created some time ago, that was a static site. I'm sure you know the difference between static sites and dynamic sites. Most of the static sites are the changeable sites, and the dynamic sites are the sites that keeps on of which its content keeps on changing with time. So that one, we've saved some of the content in a database, and we use some scripts to change the content in real time. So that serves as a dynamic site. All right. So in creating dynamic sites, you use the PHP or the Python to do those things. All right. In one of the videos, after I'm done with the PHP tutorials, I'll show you how to create dynamic content with the Mobilize and PHP. Okay, we'll come to that. All right. So what this side is talking to you is talking about is this. With the PHP, it helps you to create dynamic content that's interactive to databases, and that is basically the main purpose of the PHP language. All right. So it's saying that PHP is basically used for developing web-based applications, as I said. So this tutorial is going to help you build a web-based, build your what do you call it? This tutorial helps you to build your base with PHP. All right. So let's go to the next point. It's saying that why to learn PHP. This side, I think you can read it. These are all ready. Right, so some of them are, you have PHP, it's a server-side scripting language that is embedded in HTML, blah blah blah, and all those things, SQL and those things. So yeah, you can read it. It's just English. You can read and understand. These are the ones to talk about the reason why I have to use PHP. So my interest is on this side, the characteristics of PHP. Okay, so 5 important characteristics makes PHP practical nature possible. Okay. So we are saying that one of the characteristics is this: simplicity. When we start coding the PHP, we realize PHP is very simple. Efficiency, security, flexibility, familiarity is there. With the familiarity, if let's say you've transformed from C, C++, Java up to this point, C# up to this point, you realize there's a familiar strength that runs through all of them, and PHP gives you that exposure to. Okay, so you see the familiarity over there. Flexibility in PHP is awesome. Okay, in such a way that with PHP, instead of let's say for C++, for instance, or C, and even the Java, then VBs, if you are dealing with a variable, you have to declare the variable with a data type and all of those things. In PHP, it's free. Any variable you want to create, you just define it and you are gone. Do you get? Defining means like you just bring the $sign before that word and it becomes a variable. That's all. No need to declare anything anywhere. Security, PHP gives you it has some inbuilt functions that helps you to ensure security on your on your program or in your program. So that one too is assured. Efficiency, yes, PHP is efficient. Efficient in many ways. In its functionalities, okay, in its functionalities, PHP is very efficient in its functionalities. So all the predefined, the system-defined functions created in there, and the user-defined function that will be created to PHP gives you the efficient, efficient structure or platform to develop your systems. Okay, it helps your system to be very effective too, based on the other plugins and other tools that has been inbuilt for you to use. All right, so it makes it very efficient and reliable. Right. Then simplicity, as I've already explained, using the variable, for instance, PHP is very simple. When we start, you realize that yes, all the characteristics of PHP that I'm talking about here is really true. I would have added dependability. It's dependable because you can rely on it to get it. Yeah. So as usual, we have our first demo here. Okay. So this script here, we're going to we'll copy this script and paste it into our code area. Then we see how this these ones will be interpreted. Okay. All right. So I'll pause here. I'll copy it. Then go to our coding area. And paste it here. So with this, I'll create a file, a PHP file, since we are doing PHP. So I'll create a file called index. The name of the file is index. Then what I'll do here is now I'll enter to the presentation mode so that the font size will be a bit bigger. I'll paste it. So yes, so you see this error that has shown up here. I intentionally wanted you to see so that it's all form parts of our tutorials. So what this error means is this: we have the open tag of PHP here. All right, we've opened PHP, but these contents here are HTML content. All right, so the script is not able to interpret this HTML code in the PHP. So for us to be able to, take away this error, it means we have to close the tag, the PHP tag. All right. So in closing that one, we have to bring our question mark and the greater than sign. As soon as we bring that one, it means any block outside, any content outside these parameters, the open and the closing parameters here, can read anything, either being HTML or any other language. Okay, so that is how it is. So now the script has prepared the way for us to display our HTML content here. Another thing is this: you see, now we are in the HTML tags. Okay, we are in the HTML script, but you wanted to also display PHP content in there. Okay. However, in displaying anything to the browser, we use the echo in PHP, the basic one, the echo. You can use the print, you can use the print R and other things. But here we are using the echo, okay, in this example. And this example here means when you run this file, this page to echo hello world in a browser. That is what this very code, this 14 lines of code means. All right. So that is it. And in the previous videos in the HTML, I think we've gone through these scripts. We have the HTML, the head, whatever goes into the head. We have in this title, we know the title appears in the tab, in the web page tab. That is the tag that we have given. So we've already studied that in the PHP, introduction to HTML, right? So we didn't really focus much on that. Okay, good. Our interest is on this side, the PHP side. Okay, so I'll run this script in our browser and we see how the outcome will be. Okay, all right, so as usual, I'm running on my PHP, so I'll clear this port off. Then we see the hello world here. All right, so that is the basic thing. That is what that page is. This is what the script here is reflecting, right? So we'll go back to, let's play with it a bit. So let's say the hello world, we want to add something to it. We just want to add good morning. Okay, good morning to it. So we will save it, then run it in our browser again. Then we see the good morning here. So meaning anything that you want to display in your browser, we use the echo to do that, to perform that operation in PHP. Okay, so I'll go back to the web page, the PHP tutorial page, then we continue. All right, so now we've understood the meaning of this script that has been displayed in here. Okay, so now let's scroll down. Application of PHP. So as mentioned before, PHP is one of the most widely used language over the web, and I'm going to list few of them here. So we are saying PHP performs system functions. Okay, that is from files on the system. It can create, open, read, write, and close them. Another point is PHP can handle forms. Yes, that is, you can gather data from a form file, from files, save data to the file. Through emails, you can send data, return data to the user. That is, I think it's self-explanatory. Okay, with PHP, you add, delete, modify elements within your database through PHP. You can access cookies, variables, and set cookies too, as well as sessions. You can also do sessions, initializations, and other things. Using PHP, you can restrict users to access some pages of your website and other things, and as well as encrypt data. So, applying PHP in your project, like using PHP for your project, you can do all these things. You get it, and this makes it efficient. This makes it flexible. This makes it secured. This makes it, the simplicity aspect of it, right? That is how it is. So the audience. So we are saying that this tutorial is designed for PHP programmers who are completely unaware of PHP concepts, but they have basic understanding on computer programming. Okay. So what it means is, in this tutorial, we are not targeting a pro. If you're a pro, you are not advised to stay longer on this page. If you're a pro, you can just visit some of our pages that we have created, the database and other things. This tutorial is meant for the beginners. Okay, the beginners. All right. So those are our audience. What are the prerequisite things that you need? So to start this tutorial, you need to at least have basic understanding of computer programming, internet, okay, databases, MySQL, etc. These are very helpful. So you need to have a hands-on on these things, at least basic understanding of it. Your interest alone is okay too, right? So let me go to the next item, the introduction. So over here, let's see. Common use of PHP. I think we've passed here. Okay, so for the top, there, this upper side, we've done that. So we are saying very useful. Okay, so this command tag, I think we just went through this command tag. All right. Just went through that, so that one too is not necessary. So let's jump to the next item, the environment setup. Okay, so if you would recall, earlier on in one of my videos, when we were installing the prerequisite materials, I made you install the XAMPP and some other tools. Okay, so with the PHP, you need to install the PHP Storm as an IDE for your development. Then you need to have your browsers that you'll be using. Okay, then you need a PHP parser. So the parser, when you install the XAMPP, it comes with it automatically. So here you are saying that in order to develop and run PHP web pages, 3 vital components need to be installed on your computer system. That is the web server. The web server here is either the Apache server, all right, or the Internet Information Server, Microsoft Internet Information, IIS. All right, you can install them. But in the case of the purpose of our tutorials, we would install the Apache server, all right. Then in your database, okay, if you install the Apache server, you'll be able to create a database in it. Okay, so PHP will work with virtually all database softwares, including Oracle, which is true, and Sybase, but most commonly used is freely available with the MySQL database. That's what I'm saying. So as soon as you install the Apache, you are automatically connected to the MySQL database. You can really use it, explore the MySQL database. All right, so you can download it with this link. All right, you can download all of them here. So with the in the prerequisite materials, okay, installing the prerequisite materials, in my earlier videos, there you can also get all these files that you need to work with this tutorial that we are doing. Okay, we have the parser. So the parser, in order to process PHP script instructions a parser must be installed to generate HTML output. Okay, to generate HTML output that can be sent to your web browser. Okay, this tutorial will guide you on how to generate blah blah blah. So with this parser, as soon as you install the XAMPP, automatically you have that parser also installed. Okay, so I wouldn't go through that process. Okay, that process of installing the parser. Right. Okay, so let's move on. So the Apache configurations, I won't also go there for now. So let's jump to the syntax overview. So with the syntax overview, let's see what the tutorial has for us. So escaping to PHP, right? So the PHP parsing engine needs a way to differentiate PHP code from other elements in the page. So just as I showed you in this tutorial, when the parser is running, it needs to detect that this very code belongs to PHP and this very code belongs to other language, let's say HTML or others. Okay, so that's what it means here. Do you get it? So the PHP parsing engine needs a way to differentiate PHP code from other elements in the page. All right, and this mechanism for doing so is known as escaping to PHP. So let's say if you are in HTML and you are switching to PHP, you need to define it well so that the parser, when it gets there, to know that this goes from this end to this end PHP. So you treat it as such. Do you get it? So that is how. So the canonical page tags, PHP, PHP tags are these. Okay, these ones, the less than $PHP blah blah blah. Then if you want to close that tag, you bring the question mark and the greater than sign. These are the basics. I think I explained that one too here for you. These are the things. All right, the PHP and the closing, the open and the closing tag for it. Okay. Then we have the short open. So you can also do same as this, but preferably I will prefer you use this one. Okay, the less than $PHP, then question mark greater than sign to close your tag. Right. So commenting PHP code. All right. So I'll jump from there to commenting. How do we comment in PHP code? So just as we have comments in the other languages, okay, if you are familiar with the C, C++, and I think C# too. So C, C++, C#, and I think the VBs, all of them have a similar way of commenting in PHP. When you say commenting in PHP, what you want to mean is there is a portion of your code that you don't want your parser to interpret it. Okay, you don't want it to spend time on it to trying to interpret it to the browser. So in that point, you just have to bring a certain symbols before it to indicate that this blocks to are not necessary to spend time to interpret it. You just have to overlook it and just jump to the actual work, the actual script. Okay, and sometimes when you are doing any project and you want to bring in some pure English text in it, if not English, whatever language you are familiar with, if you want to bring it in here to define the certain block of code, so that in the future, if you want to do any updates on it, you wouldn't struggle to recall what that block really is meant for. That is when we introduce the comments there. So here, this page is telling us that, okay, a comment is the portion of a program that exists only for human reader or striped out before displaying the program results, just as I've explained. Okay, and they are saying that there are two commenting formats in PHP, and that is a single line comment in the multilines comments. Okay, and these are examples of the comments, right? So I'll copy these files here. I'll copy them and paste it into our browser for you to know. I'll paste this rather here in our coding area, so that we'll appreciate what the comment is about. Okay. So here you see the first line from line 3 to line 6. It has been grayed out. Okay, it has been grayed out. So it is saying that if you want to perform single line commenting, right? If you want to perform single line commenting, you either use the hash key, the hash character, or the // character to perform that. So in your code, wherever we see these tags, okay, before a string or before a line, before a line of code, when the parser gets here, as soon as it reads from the top and it gets here, it will automatically jump to number 7, because it has been programmed in such a way that as soon as it sees these things before a line, okay, at the start of a line, it should render them as comments. Okay, so with this one, when you run this in our browser, all right, when you run this script, this very code, these lines of code in our browser, let's see how the results will be. So now I'll refresh this page, and I have here an example with single line comments displaying in the browser. What does it mean? So it means that, as I've been saying, these lines of code here, only the line 8, okay, only the line 8 is readable to the browser. So the parser will rather interpret this one because it has not been commented. However, if I should comment this by bringing the // here, it has been grayed out as well. Okay, this graying out here probably is, it changes per your IDE that you are using. If you are using a PHP Storm and your background color is, let's say, different from white or the black or something, the color coding changes. But with the dark background, okay, with the dark color theme, when you comment it, it grays out. So now I've grayed it. So let me go to the browser here and now see if the string text will display. It's gone. Okay, meaning I have commented it. So this is what we call commenting. All right, this is what we call commenting. So that is what single line commenting is. So now let's go to our tutorial and see what the multi-lines commenting means. So if we have single line commenting and we are using either hash key or the // then let's see how the multiple commenting tool will look like. Sorry, multiple lines. So this is printing. We'll come to printing. We are handling the commenting. So let's go to the commenting here. So over here, I'll copy this code and paste it in here. Okay, so I'll clear what I have here and paste this one there. So you realize that trying to comment these multiple lines from line 3 to line 7 or line 6, all right, we didn't bring the // before all the lines. Okay, if we had done that, it means we were still performing single line commenting, and that would have been waste of time. That is where, in that scenario, when it gets to say you want to comment on a bulk, on the multiple lines, you just use these code here, okay, these characters, and the character definition is this. So you bring your // then asterisk // so whatever content you put in here, okay, can form the multiple line commenting. So that is the syntax for doing that. Okay, this is the syntax, and that is why you see its reflection here. So now, assuming let's say we want to uncomment this, so we uncomment it, and you see what we have in here. Okay, this is appearing like this because we are not displaying these strings the right way. That is why it's appearing this way. However, the intention of these lines here was to just give you an idea of who the author is, the purpose of this thing, and the subject. All right, that is why. So in commenting this, doing a bold comment, when you first bring the / and asterisk, it treats all the codes below it as multiple line comments. However, it needs a closing brace or something, a closing end. That is where we bring in the asterisk and the / again. Then it now defines the block where the commenting starts and where the commenting ends. However, when you should now run this code here, okay, in the browser, we will see that the only thing that will display to our browser is this, an example with multi-line comment. That's the only line that will display in the browser. So let's test it and see how effective it is. Hope you are following. So when I right click on the page and I click on reload, now I have this example showing up here. So that defines the difference between the single line commenting and the multiple line commenting. Thank you. So now let's continue. The white space insensitive. So it's saying PHP is white space insensitive. What does that mean? As usual, I'll copy these lines here, and paste it there. But before I do that, let's read what we have here to give us a clue. Okay, so it is saying that white space is a stuff you type that is typically invisible on the screen, including spaces, tabs, and carriage returns into brackets, end of line characters. PHP white space insensitive means that it almost never matters how many white spaces characters you have in a row. One white space character is the same as many such characters. For example, each of the following PHP statements that assigns the sum of 2 plus 2 to the variable for its equivalent. It's equivalent to what we have here. So now let's copy this one, okay, and paste it here. Let me just copy, clear this and paste this content here, okay. So this is what we have. We'll go back here. Alright, so this is what we have in the tutorial. Okay, so let's see how to print these ones. Let's take this tab thing here. Before that, let me save and run it and see the kind of error those scripts will throw to us. Good. I was expecting this error here. Sometimes not all items you see on the internet really depict what it is meant for. Okay, so this tab definition here is wrong. Fine. I've seen where the error is. So critically, you see on line 4, the first tab here has its opening less than and closing greater than. It's equal, but this tab 2 here is not having it. Okay, so what we'll do is we just bring it here. Okay, so we have an open and closing. We have an open and closing here too. Then we have open close. So let's save it and run it, and let's see how it will be interpreted. Still, we have the error on line 4. Okay, so we have here pass error, syntax error, unexpected, greater than equal to the line 4. So we go there and let's see greater than or equal to. So because of this, we will come to this notation. Okay, we'll come to this notation. Because of that, this very code will not be effective. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just take it off. Let's do a single line comment here. So we take it off, and this code has not been programmed to display anything to us. Okay, it has been defined, it has been coded not to display it, but we don't see any print, we don't see any echo in here. Okay, so what we do is, you see, what we want to appreciate is this. We are saying that PHP is white space insensitive. Okay, so here on the same line 3, okay, in the line 3, I'll just go to line 4. okay, and say that the single space in here called from line 4 for this variable 4 here, okay, this variable 4 space equal to has been assigned to 2 space plus space 2. All right, so these things has been assigned to this variable. Okay, these operands has been assigned to this variable. So let's try to see how the value of this first 4. All right, so I'll bring the echo here and say echo variable 4. Then I'll terminate it. So here, this code will run and execute what you call it and display only line 4 to us, because that is where we have the echo, and it's referencing this variable 4, though the variable 4 is also in line 7. Okay, so to differentiate the two, I'll just bring here 4_1, then make sure I'm echoing the same thing here. Okay, so that we have the difference between the upper one and the lower one, the one on line 3 and the one on line 7. You following? So I'll save it and run it in the code. Now this error has to go away and display the 4. So we have the 4 here as a 2 plus 2. All right, so in coming back, I'll comment on this one too. Okay, then I'll come and display this 4 echo echo 4. Mind you, we want you to appreciate that however you treat your spaces in the PHP doesn't matter. That is what you want to appreciate in here. So we are saying that 4 is equal to the next line 2 plus the next line 2. Since this line, the line 7 has not been terminated, the parser will still read it as it is still one line until it sees this termination, this semicolon. Okay, so that is how it is. So I'll save it, run it in our browser. Then what do we have? We still have the 4. That is what it means by PHP is white space insensitive. Do you get it? It's insensitive. So far as the line has not been terminated, the parser will still treat it as yes, it's all those content belongs to that line of code. Okay, yeah. So we move on. Now we have PHP is case sensitive, which is very true. Case sensitive. Now, as usual, let's copy this code here and paste it. Let's copy and paste it into our environment, programming environment. So I'll clear this and paste this new one here. What you want you to appreciate is this. Okay, we are saying PHP is case sensitive. The case sensitivity of PHP is this. This is a variable. In PHP, every single word that you see, which is being preceded by a $, is a variable. Are you following? Any word that you see in PHP, which is being preceded by a $, is a variable. So now we are saying PHP is case sensitive. The case sensitivity lies on the variable. So if we define a variable capital, okay, a variable capital with all lowercasing, do you get it? And you assign 67 to the variable capital. And in here on line 5, we are saying variable capital lowercase is what we have here. Okay. Then on the second line 6, we are saying that the variable capital is, you see this same, the English word here is capital, but we have it in different casing. The C is capital, A is lowercase, P is capital, I is lowercase, T is capital, A is lowercase, and L is capital. And it's telling you that these two variables here are not the same, even though they read capital, but they are not the same. And that defines the case sensitivity, the case sensitiveness of the PHP. All right. So when you run this code now, we might have an error here because this capital here is not defined. So let's run it and see what will happen. Then I'll come here to explain why what happened. All right. So I'll save it and move to our browser here. Go to the tab, then reload. So when we reload, as I said earlier, we're having the error throwing up here. The first one is displaying the capital. The value of the capital is the same because that variable meets up with the defined capital and the defined variable that we initialize at the top there. Okay, but this very variable, the one that was having the the casing differences, uppercase, lowercase, lowercase, isn't throwing anything to us because if it's even an error. So it says that undefined variable, this capital here is not defined anywhere. So we should check line 6. Truly, the line 6 bears that error. Okay, so if I'm to say that fine, this capital 2, let me assign a variable to it and say that 1 2 is equal to 76. The reverse. Then I run it. Now they are all capital in wording. In English, they are all capital. But when it comes to programming, the logic doesn't work because it doesn't see it as who it is. Alright. So I'll save it and run it. So let's run this code again. And now I have my 76 here because I've assigned this 76 to this new variable. Okay. Programming has its coding. Every character on the keyboard has its code. We call it the ASCII codes, right? So the smaller C has its codes different from the capital C, though they are all C. Since we have a name for it, that this one is capital, one is smaller, the computer has been designed in a certain way that how it understands how it will read capital C is different from how it will read small letter C. Hence the case sensitiveness in PHP. So going forward, if you are dealing with any variable and you spell it, you have in mindset that, let's say I'll make the first letter capital and you forgot to do the same in the subsequent ones, it won't run because of the case sensitiveness of the PHP language. So that is what it means by PHP is case sensitive. Okay, that's it. All right, so this one, the outputs here, we have gone through the live output as well. So let's go to statements. So when you talk about statement, we are saying a statement in PHP is any expression that is followed by a semicolon. A statement is any expression that is followed by semicolon. I just mentioned semicolon not long ago, and it's saying that any sequence of valid PHP statements that is enclosed by PHP tags is a valid PHP program. Here is a typical statement in PHP, which in this case assigns a string of characters to a variable called greeting. Okay, so what do we mean? I'll copy this and go to the code. So it means that all these lines, since they are ending in a semicolon, it means line 2 is a statement, line 3 is a statement, line 4 is a statement, line 6 is a statement, line 7 is a statement. Likewise, this new string here, okay, line 9 2 is a statement. That is what it means by what a statement is. So for us, it's ending with a semicolon. It means that stretch of code or that line of code is a statement. That is what it means. Okay, so now what do we have here? Expressions are combination of tokens. We've already explained that. You can read through it. Now we have braces make blocks. Okay, so let's see what are they saying here. We have all those statements cannot be combined like expressions. Alright, so let me go back to the expressions. I think they are two different things. So for the expressions, they are saying that the smallest building blocks of PHP are the invisible tokens such as numbers, into brackets, 3 points, blah blah blah. You have strings, into bracket, .2, variables. You see the variable as I was saying, this one, they got a dollar preceding the 2. That's a variable. Constants, that's a true or something. Then an special word that makes up the syntax in PHP itself, like if, else, while, for, and so forth. Right. So here it's saying that Although statements cannot be combined, okay, statements cannot be combined like expressions, you can also put a sequence of statements anywhere a statement can go by enclosing them in a set of curly braces. Okay, so it's saying braces make blocks. What does it mean? What it means is this. So if you remember, when we were doing the conditional statements and so forth, we're putting them in braces. Okay, so when you bring your if statement like this, and you have multiple statements within the block, this brace here on line 6 to line 9 defines the block of the condition that you are defining. Okay, so for instance, you are testing that if 3 is exactly equal to 2 plus 1, then you should do something. So the brace here talks about the then aspect of the if statement, meaning we have blocked these things, the line 8 and 9, within the condition. So when we test this condition here and it's true for us, then these statements are supposed to be displayed to or in the browser. That is what we mean. Okay, so braces makes the block. So these braces here makes the block. However, if you were to have bracelets, let's say you don't have a brace, okay, like the first one on line 4, line 3, line 4, there is no brace here and it still works. Automatically, the PHP has been programmed in that way. The if statement here and in Java also has the same Python also has the same feature, which I think will be common in the other languages. Okay, you can choose to bring the block, you can choose not to bring the block. Okay, so now let's run this one and see how this very code will even be interpreted in our browser. So when you run it, we have good. I haven't lost my mind. You haven't lost your mind. That's fine. So it reads and it interprets that though we didn't bring the brace here on line 3 and 4, it displayed the record for us. Likewise, the line 6 to line 11, okay, we brought the brace there and also displayed our content for us, okay, because the testing parameters were true. That's why it came here. So let's say I change the one here to 2 and I save it. When I run it in the browser, what do I have? That side is gone because it is saying that 3 is not exactly equal to 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So this one is not met. Hence, the other ones, the L side will run. Okay. So when we get to conditional statements and other things, and the conditional statement and decision making areas, then we also talk at length with the if statement here. Okay. So in summary, that is what this side is talking about. The braces makes the block, right? Exactly. So running PHP in a command script, we don't need that. Okay, so this brings the end of this session. Okay, so where did we get to? So this brings us to the end of this session. So let's see. Now we have done the home, introduction, environment setup, and the syntax overview. Okay, so I'll pause here. Okay, and in the next video, we'll go through variable types, constants, operator types, decision making. Then we'll go to the loops. Okay, in the next tutorial. So thank you very much for joining me through to this end, or thank you for watching the video. So I'll end here and I'll say bye bye for now. See you in the next video. Thank you.